Hey, how's it going? We got something pretty cool we're doing today, and this is a tale of two gridlocks. We have Alter Ego sitting here and we have OG sitting here. This was a dream of mine when I very first got into the off-road. After having this for, a good 4 or 5 years, this was what became because of all the things that I experienced with this and what I wanted different. So to dive in this thing real quick, what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically pick up from where the last gridlock build came out online. Now, if you want to go down into the caption, you want to pause here, jump in there and watch the original gridlock build, you'll see that. Now, we'll talk about from where that video ended, basically what we built up on this thing and what was created for this out of all of that. Obviously, there's a lot of people that love the OG build, so we thought to ourselves, you know what? If we're gonna build something, let's build the Alter Ego version of this. Let's build this everything that this is not. Working with Dan over at MotoBuilt, and Bobby and Bender, listening to everything they were coming out for LJs and knowing that these tubs on an LJ are very crossover with the CJ, well, a lot of things started to dial in. MotoBuilt and us were headed down the same path. We wanted 2 doors, we wanted something with more wheelbase, we wanted something with better geometry, all of those things. And if you're interested in any of this stuff from MotoBuilt, go into the caption below. Along with the link to this original build, you're gonna find a parts list for everything MotoBuilt that's on this build. Some of the things that are on this build are not out to the public yet. However, there is going to be a VIP link in this video down below. Go onto MotoBuilt, go sign up with that link. As soon as these parts hit the shelf, which should be this year, you'll get a phone call and you'll be first in line to get some of these parts, and you're gonna want them. So one of the big comparisons I think is what tires you have. Obviously I use Mickey Thompson on everything I do because I love the brand and they're very connected to the world. They take a lot of feedback that we give them and any of you give them and they make their products better, right? Because they're an enthusiast driven brand. So when you're looking at these 2 builds right now, or just any of the videos you see, you'll see us swapping tires out on builds a lot. A lot of that has to do with the functionality of the tires. So over here, you're gonna see a 44-inch Mickey Thompson Baja Boss. This is a DOT tire. We have 44s or 46s you're gonna see running on this build. When I'm running this tire package compared to this tire package, these tires are running about 100 pounds heavier than these tires are, which is massive, right? You've got a 46-inch tire that's 20 inches wide. You've got a 44-inch tire that is 13.5 inches wide. Way different contact patches. So when I run a 44 on this, like at Sand Hollow, I'm a lot narrower. So when I'm in V-notches and I'm in things, I gotta be a lot more careful. These tires make up for a lot of my bad driving. When I rate these 2 tires, way different tires, right? This tire is gonna be the best option for, let's say, 80% of the rigs that are out there. You saw me heat these tires up to a pretty good point where they were shiny, right? Because the rubber was so hot melty on there that I shot up, I was hopping at the end because I had so much traction. But I needed that to get out of that. That's the setup on these with tires and what I prefer. When we built this thing in the video that you just watched, or the video we dropped, what was really cool about that build is there wasn't a lot of big tire builds out there at that point. 46s were not common at all. Once we started to get more involved in performance, I started to hit my limits on this build with my front axle. The biggest problem I was experiencing with the front axle was I was blowing carriers apart. The reason is, and something that I learned along the way, was on a front end, a high pinion puts you on the correct side of the gear. A low pinion has you on the wrong side of the gear. But when you're looking at a rear end, right, I still have the AAM 11 and a half bit, you know, I've had in this thing ever since day one with the original Grizzly that is now, what, almost 9 years old. The strength of these Yukon chromoly 38 splines with that 38 spline Grizzly locker in the back of this is, to me, one of the most profound, just bulletproof designs you can have. And what's really cool about that is anyone can put that in. That's just a junkyard axle at that point. But I was having a problem with my front. I had a Dana 60 passenger drop out of an older Dodge. So what I ended up doing was I reached out to East Coast Gear Supply. So what I opted for in this was a Dana 80. The front end on this thing is running an E-locker on it because I do drive this thing on the street a little bit, and so I didn't want to spool up there. We threw this 80 in from East Coast Gear Supply. 4-inch tubes, you know, big reed knuckles, all that kind of stuff to make this thing bulletproof. I have yet to damage a ring and pinion 4 years later, 5 years later, in either one of these builds. Knowing that I love this axle, I didn't want to change this axle. I wanted this axle again. And I wanted it better because I wanted bigger parts, knowing that I had more horsepower, big tires, because that rotational mass is going to kill you every time. Again, went to East Coast Gear Supply. We built a Dana 80 front and rear. I wanted rear steer. Rear steer is one of those things that even if you can move your tire 10 degrees one way or the other, it gets you through things or allows you to hit things differently than a normal drag axle would. At the same time we were building this, East Coast Gear Supply came out with their KP540. The KP540 is insane. Their new knuckle system allows for everything to kind of be bigger inside there, more clearance, every which way around. It also has a higher yield strength. Knowing that I wanted all the Yukon goodies and everything, and knowing that I've had problems in the past, we went to Yukon spools. So I've got Yukon spools in this, 40 spline inner axles, 1550 U-joints. And again, the nice thing about a KP540, what these came out with is the 40 spline manual lockout. So the KP540 allows you to manually disengage and engage your drivetrain with a spool inside there, so you're able to drive it on the road and do all the stuff you want to do, but it's free spinning when it's not engaged. I am running 3 manual lockouts on this with 1 slug. Getting the gears, getting the axles, getting all of that stuff in here, then set us up to obviously get into the suspension and what we were gonna do with drive lines and all of that. Now, JE Reel has always been one of the drive lines that we go to with our custom stuff. This drive line was definitely tricky. It has to have a jack shaft just like this one did, but because of the way Motobilt designed their front half kit, their center section, and their back half kit, we were able to manipulate and get a driveline in this a lot easier than we were with this the first time. When you're in this thing and you're wheeling, the geometry was the best I could do with the knowledge I had at the time. When I swapped out this whole front end that you now see here and I went back to an original CJ grill, it gave me the ability to move these coilovers in 15 degrees and back 15 degrees. So my vehicle's a lot more planted because my coilovers are consistently pushing to the center of my vehicle. Before, I would have a little bit of movement on my body where it would fall back and forth, but now my coilovers are bracing. Also changed out my dual triangulation on my lower links, brought that out a little bit more so it wasn't so far in. The things that are mainly different about this is all fully engineered, no junkyard stuff, no guessing, any of that kind of stuff. Everything came from either Motobilt, East Coast Gear Supply, or like the coilover mounts in some cases, we were able to use some of the geometry off this, but also use geometry off El Jefe and things like that, and then calculators to make sure that everything was correct.
Passenger, back up, driver.
But now years later, where I want a vehicle that has as much speed as capability in the Rocks, Alter Ego, the anti-squat and anti-dive are very important to your rigs, right? Because I'm not as much worried about the anti-squat because of the clearance I have on the belly of this, boat sides, all that kind of stuff that this didn't have. I'm now to the point where I want to be able to do 70 through the dunes. I want to rip, this motor can do it, the transmission can do it, but you want your suspension to be stable too. I don't run a sway bar in this thing. That's how stable this thing is. This has a sway bar. This doesn't run a sway bar because it's that dialed suspension-wise. I don't need one. When you're in this stuff and you're wheeling, you can definitely feel not having that sway bar. But I just ran Crucible, ran some of these things that I've ran before in this, and it's insane how much more stable this thing is. We are running the upper coilover mounts in the rear. The cage on this is custom. The cage does wrap as well all the way through and give us an engine, and that's how we're mounting the upper coilovers. They're both running 3.0 IBPs, which have a lot of flexibility. They do have bump stops in them as well. But other than that, I think we're at a 74-inch WMS on this thing, so we're a good 100 inches wide almost on this thing, which is pretty insane without any type of spacer or adapter. You can see how it's sitting. We lifted it a little bit. We've got 6 inches of up travel on this thing now before, and in the rear, we do as well now too. But before, I think we were limited on our up travel to like 4 inches. Obviously our winch setup, very comparable. This is a military 12,000 pound from Warren, and this is a 14,000 pound XD. So these winches are 10 years apart in technology again, because these builds are so old compared to each other. This really cool setup we've been doing ever since we built Alter Ego. We just did it on Robert Braun's CJ. We take an LP6, we made a mount that mounts to the factory grill with these really cool bezels that billet badges 3D prints us, and then we Patriot line them. It gives it more of like a modern look on a CJ. They also printed off some other mounts for us for our squadrons down below. When you look at these two builds, they sit very similar in height. This one has a little bit more up travel on it. The front half definitely picked up on the front of this, where I had to take some of the bottom of the grill off, and then we actually brought some of it down as well. Now this does have a big block radiator in it from Mishimoto, which was able to cool this engine down a lot more for me. Also cooled the transmission down. So some of the other things that we've noticed on both this build and this is we had to add in, some wheel wells, because our fans were blowing all of our hot air onto our transmission coolers, which obviously heated things up. Getting into this thing when it comes to, cooling and intake and all that kind of stuff, we've got a lot more compact package with this. It's still all Mishimoto when it comes to the coolers and all that kind of stuff. They've got a lot bigger coolers now that we're utilizing on this. There's nothing running to the rear of the vehicle on this as of right now. Like this one had some things running to the rear because we just needed more capacity and more capacity. but some of the new radiators and stuff that Mishimoto came out with, we were able to lead all that. On this guy over here, we used a 4.4 STSV out of a 2008 Cadillac. Problem is, this motor is constantly being taxed, right? With 1,500 pounds of rotational mass when we have 46s on this. We knew we needed something with more displacement. We opted for an LT1. Now the LT1 that we have in this thing is actually an L87 variation. It's the truck style, different torque ranges, things like that. We took everything off of it. We went to PSI, and working with them and BTR, we got a stage 2 cam, we did everything. Then we dropped an LT4 blower on top of this thing. This thing's insane. You're talking 700 horse, root style supercharger, super efficient, and it moves. It will move fast. You've got it mated to a maximum transmissions, full reverse manual valve body 4L80, mounted to an Atlas. On the Atlas, we did go a 4.3-to-1. Motobilt built us some custom hood grill, like a hood vents on this one. This one we molded in a Moab, style JLU style vent system in it. Our windows, I want to say this one sits maybe 2 inches higher than this one does, but has more up travel. We've got a little bit more headroom in this one, but where our heads are sitting near our bars, when we designed this cage, we did some creativity there. So I have more actual head clearance away from bars than I do in this one. Some of the other really things I like about this is when you're in this and you're sitting in there, you feel a lot more like you're in a cockpit. Everything is brought to you, dash-wise, control-wise, all that kind of stuff. This is your standard CJ flat dash. Both of these run the same Dakota Digital gauge setup. You have PSI that builds us a wiring harness. That wiring harness removes every sensor, everything that you don't need on these. Then that wiring harness comes into our cab. From there, it splits on an OBD2. One of the things that are alike on these things are the seats from PRP. And so when you look at PRP, think of it as like the supercharger for your engine. It's gonna improve your safety, and if you do roll or something does happen, it's gonna keep you locked in and safe, where an OEM factory seat or harness or seat belt or things like that are not going to. These builds are both running the crawl version of the Enduro. This one has air conditioning, which this one does not have, which I might need to upgrade PRP. But this one's running an air-conditioned system. The seats are identical. When you're looking at them, you sit in them and you feel them. Both running 4-point belt click harnesses. I prefer those over anything else because, again, I'm not a race car. I prefer a 2-inch wide 4-point harness on both of these with the clickers. I like that because I'm constantly in and out of my rigs. I'm constantly getting out spotting people. I'm doing all of that. I've rolled over in them. I prefer them. They're just a super comfortable harness. You have a lot of cool Motobilt parts on the body. Now the front end of this thing, you're like, they don't have any CJ parts. So you're right, these are YJ parts, YJ fenders, YJ boat slides, YJ tub, all these things that extend the body about 15 inches. What we're able to do, because the tubs are so close, is we shortened the high clearance YJ fenders, right? And then everything else with that new tub extension just bolted right up. So these builds are almost the same exact weight, but this thing's 15 inches longer. Axles are bigger just because of the tube diameter and all that kind of stuff. Ring and pinions are very comparable on these. Tires, wheels are very comparable on these things at any time, but wheelbase wise, lengthwise, this is 8 inches longer than this is. So moving this thing to a 128 gave me 8 inches more wheelbase, which allowed me to have a better breakover to go up things or go down things. one of the simplest things on this build versus that, which I really liked, was getting into the back of this thing. All of your stuff is sitting down low behind the bulkhead where the fuel tank is, and everything is just kind of hidden back there. So you got to climb up, dig yourself in, get your power tank, all that stuff. What we did with this thing, when we stretched that 15 inches, the same panels that everyone digs on the back, the molly panels we put on this, we put on this. The cool thing about the molly panels are they're actually hinged and they're on doors. All of that was kind of designed here with Jason. This one has Frenched in race light bars, you know, RTLs from Baja Designs. If you want to see either one of these two builds and come out and check them out in person, make sure you check out the Great American Crawl app that we launched. We host 8 or 9 events a year all over the country. We kind of come to you. The events, once you're part of the membership, all of the events are free. It's about $10 a month. So it's kind of like your way to get out there and wheel with us and hang out with everyone and learn to meet a lot of people that you can go wheel with. But again, you'll go into it, it's app.greatamericancrawl.com. You'll get signed up there. Again, every stop you get a t-shirt, entry to a raffle. We do 10,000 in prizes at every stop. You get 2 barbecue tickets for free. So all of that is included at every Great American Crawl once you're a member. You don't have to pay extra to go to the events. So if you're digging this stuff, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, leave comments below if you have questions on either one of these builds. You know, we're happy to help. If you want access to any of the files on any of the rigs that we build, we're putting all that stuff in the app as well for you. And you can just rob our forum page and get everything you want out of there. And if you're interested in any of the great brands that we work with, and you get into that app, a lot of the brands that we work with offer discounts in that app as a part of being a member with us. Other than that, it's been an awesome ride. We appreciate everyone who checks out the channel, and thanks to all the great companies that made both these builds possible. Follow the journey with us, because we have a lot more to do and a lot more to come.
So you don't want to put like,
Okay.
oh my.
Okay.
All right. You don't want to put like some chili powder in there?
Tahini?